about wellness right now. We're going to understand that the body's natural state is health. I already mentioned that. It's such a simple statement, but I've read it thousands and thousands of times, and I think some people still don't understand it. To be healthy or well, we must give ourselves the 3 essential nutrients. So the main essential nutrient that we talk about today is the biochemistry, through the foods that we eat, right? The air that we breathe, the liquids that we drink, stuff like that. Stuff that we put on our skin, you might as well eat it, right? Whatever you put on our skin, if it's suntan lotion, moisturizer, I do a whole workshop in my office on environmental toxicities. I got different guest speakers that come in and talk about there's known carcinogens in like 80% of the most common, especially women's cosmetics, right, and men's as well. I mean, it's stuff that would blow your mind if you really knew like what was in there. The sodium lauryl sulfates, and it's unbelievable. So once again, their own health consciousness good. So homeostasis. So if we define health, right? So health in terms of cell function is a word called homeostasis. So all of you in this room, including myself, we are ecosystems of 70 trillion cells, give or take 10 or 12 cells, right? Or 10 or 12 trillion. So the homeostasis, the only way to achieve this is by living the wellness lifestyle. I'm going to talk about this. So it's eat well, what we just mentioned. Now I'm going to parlay. You guys want to learn a little about stress and mindset? Who here thinks that what they think can affect their health? Pretty much everyone. Okay, and that's why, I mean, this is not even really debatable. Stress causes pretty much everything, right? Especially even cancer and high blood pressure. And then we're going to talk about even movement. And we're going to wrap it up. So let's talk about think well for a second. It says our state of mind affects our health dramatically. Now I know, once again, when we have an illness in this culture, it's very common to go to the medical doctor and you come out with a bag of pills. So what I'm more of an advocate for, and I'm not making you wrong for doing that, but I want to offer a different perspective. 90% of illness in this country is lifestyle induced. So it's considered environmental. Our environment is how we eat, think, and move, isn't it? To a large degree. So to start to take medications to offset the effects of poor lifestyle choices, to me doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And this is what I literally lecture on around San Diego and sometimes beyond. So this is powerful stuff, and it makes common sense for most of us. Some people maybe get offended by it if they are committed to their medication. I'm not here to offend anyone. But if we know that the state of mind affects our health, and that when we lose our health, very infrequently do we address that state of mind, do we? How do you change someone's state of mind? You can do it. It just takes a little bit of time. And some level of being open-minded, right? So watch this. It is unscientific, you guys, and it's clinically irrelevant to consider health in terms of self-function without including state of mind. That's one of the first things I look at with every person that I work with. So obviously a positive state of mind equals positive biochemistry. Who here has a friend, family member, coworker, I'll just call them Negative Nelly or Negative Nelson, and they're just sick like 5, 6 times a year. Every 2 or 3 months they're sick. Right? Our body's natural state is what? Health. So when people get sick, I don't understand that. I don't even understand the term common cold. They've kind of conditioned us that it's common to get sick once in a while. Right? Common cold to me, I think it's common health and wellness. Right? You should virtually never get sick. Honestly, maybe I've had a cold once in 10 years, Just eat right, exercise, and work on your thinking. That's all you really got to do. All right? So I know it's easier said than done, but just wanted to try to stretch your paradigm on that one a little bit. So I know I saw a lot of hands when people know someone that's Negative Nelly or Nelson, and that might be...
I just brought a question.
Sure.
I understand you're married, and my girlfriend and I, when you made that statement about the healthy state of mind,
Sure.
we have children.
Sure.
Our children bring home a lot of what we would consider viruses.
Absolutely. They're everywhere. Viruses and bacteria everywhere. One of the most common places is the keyboard. I just saw a thing on the news the other night. They said you should, what is it? If you're going to be working on your computer and then eating lunch, you might, and they said these aren't my words, you might as well eat your dinner off the toilet seat. I swear to you they said that. So you're exactly right, there's different germs coming in, but the body, if your immune system is fired up at full strength, with very few exceptions, you're going to actually express a symptom with that.
So same thing with the kids too.
Yeah. Well, kids, they're just, depending on how young they are, they're just getting their immune systems going,
Right.
So for them, they are a little more susceptible, obviously. But that's a great question, so I'm glad you brought that up. I don't want to, make it seem like I'm some kind of wellness robot up here, right? But High blood pressure. Does this look familiar to anyone? Is that your negative Nelly right there? Negative Nelson? Okay, so I'm going to do a little skit here. You guys ready for this? You may have to turn the camera off for this. Just kidding, you can leave it. This might end up on YouTube though, right? So here's the thing. I'm going to rewind 40,000 years ago. And what we're going to do is that we're going to discover right now what the diseases of adaptation is. You've all heard of the fight or flight response. I'm assuming, right? It's our first level of consciousness. It's a primitive reflex, and it's an innately intellectual reflex that we need to survive, right? So we're going to rewind 40,000 years ago. So we're coming out of our cave in the morning, right? We're going down to the little watering hole. We're going to get a little drink of water. It's all quiet and calm. You know, a little fun, getting a drink out of the water there. And then, ah! What happens? Tiger just jumps out of the bush. Some of you guys jumped. Actually, not many of you. So usually I get people come out of the seat. You guys are in the back. I actually jumped, right? Oh, I'm at the zoo. So you guys are desensitized to your own innate fight or flight. Cool. So here's what just happened. Okay, in a split second or less, your blood pressure went up. Your blood glucose levels went up to supply energy for your muscles to fight or get the hell out of there. There's an entire stress response summary. There's hundreds of things that happen right then. Your immune system actually drops. You don't need to heal when there's a tiger chewing your leg off. Healing comes later when your body makes this intelligent adaptive response to really offset or to supply the energy for this increased stressful environment. Right? And this is what's happening. So now we fast forward back to today. Well, thank God we don't have saber-toothed tigers jumping out at us. Well, we might around here. But as I say, we're not running from predators anymore. We're just running from creditors, which can be just as scary. But what's happening, especially in this country, is we're such a stressed-out culture. Right? We're very just stressed about it. We're very competitive and money-driven, and traffic and mortgages and the stock market, the real estate market, foreclosures, children, relationships. I already said traffic, I'll say it again. So what's happening is we're not expressing full flight or fight physiology. Well, some of us might be, right? You're not just super reactive all the time. But we're functioning at a chronic, heightened level of this adaptive physiology. So we're functioning at a level of chronic high blood pressure, chronic high blood glucose levels. What do we got here? Heart disease, hypertension, stroke, cancer. All of these things are the result of our body making an intelligent response. And here's what happens. Never in history were we ever presented the condition of chronic overeating, chronic over-emotionally stressing. Our body has no defense mechanism for that. When in evolution we were like, wow, we need a defense mechanism for overeating. It was always about undereating. So you can stop eating, your body does all these things, it puts food here, it pulls energy out of here, it stores stuff over here. But we were never presented with that opportunity to create a defense mechanism for overeating, over-emotionally stressing. And that's why we're seeing all of this. Does that make some sense, you guys? This is honestly probably one of the most powerful things I can teach you guys today. And it's not just emotional stress, it's biochemical stress through nutrition like we talked about today. And it's actually stress of movement. We're going to go through this next. I'm going to wrap this up. So this is one of the most powerful things I could ever teach anyone. And I've got the research on it. If you guys want it, whatever, you guys can email me or I give you the data. I'm going to welcome you guys into my own classes every Tuesday. I teach a class. I got 10 different classes that I teach in my office. It's called the Half Hour to Health. Next Tuesday I'm doing a class actually called the Neurology of Movement. So that's what we're going to get into right now. So it's very similar in content, but a little bit geared towards the general public like you guys versus people that are already taking that next step towards a healthier future. So let's talk about this. So movement. Movement is a required nutrient for our nervous system and for our cells.